Welcome to your Bitcoin marketing blog. This is Ep.9, which is all about micro-targeting and modern ad tech. If we think about how advertising used to work and how paid media used to work, it was minimal targeting capabilities, and you were essentially throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. But we've come a long way from that.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning that, micro-targeting is really the cutting edge of what technology can do to make marketing more effective, right? Like the modern era of the internet, analytics, big data, AI, it all supports companies' abilities to really know who that customer is and to decide how to reach them, right? What's the most effective way?
Micro-targeting is essentially just segmentation at scale. We talked about it in an earlier episode where, it's important to segment your audience when you're building a marketing campaign. And micro-targeting is the technological implementation of that principle. And the way it works is you pull in as much data as possible to define someone when they're online, and you just reach them wherever they go on all their devices. But because you can pull in data from different sources, you can be very precise about who you want to reach with campaigns. And, we've talked about this too. Different people have different motivations, right? So the capabilities of the ad tech today, it just points to the fact that these ad platforms allow us to build campaigns and target in a way that just reflects the reality of the way people consume media. It's what every other industry is doing. I don't think it's something that we see a lot of in Bitcoin. We often see Bitcoin almost treating all audiences as the same. I think the industry lags behind in that respect.
Yeah, I know. you know, we've talked about how to orange pill people and things like that, right? Like my instinct initially was always, what is the most impactful thing that I can say? What is the one thing that is somewhat undeniable, right? When it comes to an argument for Bitcoin. And that would change for me like over time, which is interesting because I would be in a different place or I'd encounter new information and that sort of thing. But it didn't really click for me that my approach and my message needed to change, right? But obviously, we've talked a lot about that in terms of knowing your audience and knowing how to tailor your message.
Sometimes you see it, but not often. You often see kind of one broad message being broadcasted to everyone. And it's usually sound money, fixed supply, freedom, sovereignty, and so on, right? But like to use modern ad tech and modern marketing principles, like you should really be asking a different question, which is, which part matters most to this specific person? And that's relevance. That's the other theme that we've been coming back to throughout these episodes. Relevance is important in marketing, and it's because relevance works better than interruption, right? Like when you've got good relevant marketing that's based on, effective targeting, you're reducing noise. And instead of showing everyone the exact same ad, you're increasing the likelihood that the people that see an ad are looking at information that is relevant to them and reflects their own circumstances and their own interests and their own journey with, a brand like Bitcoin.
That's cool because I like that idea of relevance versus interruption because it's not about like stealing someone's attention. It's more like, what's the message that I can use here to maybe tack on to a belief that somebody already has.
For sure. And, I think there has almost been a cultural bias, I think, against advertising within the Bitcoin community. If you think about where Bitcoin came from, it came from this open source, grassroots, anti-establishment community where advertising was kind of viewed skeptically because it's
Right.
very
Well,
corporate.
it's a tool of the institutions, right? Be that
Yeah,
large
exactly.
corporations, political institutions.
Yeah, and as a result, I think, the way Bitcoin has grown over the years, a lot of people have focused on that organic growth and have rejected, marketing tools rather than learning how to use them responsibly. But,
Mm,
if we want mass adoption of Bitcoin, then it's going to require precision and it's going to require the use of modern ad tech. It's not the next phase of Bitcoin communications is not necessarily shouting louder and screaming Bitcoin from the rooftops. It's delivering the right message to the right person at the right moment. And that's exactly what modern ad tech was built to do. I'd say just in closing, like everybody in the Bitcoin community says everyone should learn about Bitcoin, right? But modern ad tech simply just gives us a way to decide which message each person should hear first to increase the chances of, someone's interest being sparked.